Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to our class. Today we're going to do the unit wrap-up on multiplication. Our objectives for the class are: I can recall how to represent multiplication facts by using different methods, and I can relate a multiplication equation and a division equation. Let's remember the parts of a multiplication. The two numbers that you multiply are called factors. So 7 is a factor and 5 is a factor. The result or answer of a multiplication is called product. So 35 is the product. Now, the symbol of the multiplication is this X, and you read it as times. And this symbol you know it from before, is called equals. So when you read a multiplication, you say 7 times 5 equals 35. Now, sometimes the times symbol could be read as groups of, and instead of saying equals, we can tell same is the same as. So we can read the equation like this. 7 groups of 5 is the same as 35. The simplest form to do a multiplication is a number sentence. We had two factors, 3 times 6 equals a mystery number that we still don't know. To find this answer, we're going to represent this multiplication in different ways. The first representation is going to be equal groups. Because we're going to make equal groups, we know that the 3 means the number of groups. So this is going to be group number 1, group number 2, and group number 3. Now, the multiplication tells us that each group has 6 objects. So group number 1 is going to have 6 objects. Group number 2 is going to have the same amount of objects. Which in this case is 6. And the last group is going to have the same amount of objects. Why? Because the multiplication tells us that we have 3 groups of 6. So this is going to be group 1. This is going to be group 2. And this is going to be group 3. And we know that each group has 6, 6, and 6. This is going to take us to the third representation, which is going to be repeated addition. Now, when we have repeated addition, we're going to write or add the number that is repeated many times. In this case, the number that is repeating is 6, 6, and 6, and it's repeating 3 times because I have 3 groups. So my repeated addition is going to look like 6 plus 6 plus 6. Now, when I add these numbers, I'm going to get my answer. For that one, to get my answer, I'm going to do the partial addition. So I'm going to start with 6 plus 6 makes 12, and 12 plus 6 makes 18. So the answer to my problem is going to be 18. Now let's see a couple more of representations. The next representation is going to be skip counting, and we're going to skip count 3 times the number 6. So we start with 6, that's 1 time. 6 plus 6 is going to make 12, that's going to be 2 times. And 12 plus 6 is going to be 18, that's going to be 3 times. The next representation is going to be the number line. And the number line is going to represent exactly what we are doing right now. So we put the number line here. Let me just cover this so we focus on the number line. We're going to start in 0. Because we are in 0, now we're going to skip count. So if you notice, it's exactly the same. We're going to skip count by 6. So my first jump in the number line that goes ahead is going to be 6. So that's going to be the group 1. If I skip one more time, another 6, that's going to be group number 2, and that's going to give me a total of 12. And the last time, I'm going to skip 6 one more time. That's going to be my group 3, and the answer is going to be 12 plus 6 is going to give me again 18. The next method is bar model. Now, bar model, as the name says, is represented by bars. Now, the standard says we need 3 bars. The bars have to be equal size because now we know that each bar is going to represent 6. I know that this is a part, and we know that it's a 6, but it's a part. This other part, again, is 6. And the last part is 6. Now, in this case, we're trying to find the whole. Remember, the whole is the greatest number. So the whole is going to go from side to side, and it's going to embrace the 3 bars. And in this case, we're going to try to find the whole, which is missing. And now we know that to find the whole, we can do repeated addition. 6 plus 6 plus 6 is going to be 18, or we can multiply 3 times 6, 18. So my whole at the end is going to be 18. Now, the next representation is going to be the area model. In this case, the multiplication is going to tell me that I need 3 rows of 6 objects each row. So I'm going to put the first row. Oops. This is going to be row number 1. So let's write it down. Row number 1. Then we'll bring the second row, row number 2. And the last row, row number 3. So we're representing the problem because we have 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, and each row has 6, 6, and 6. So when we put them all together, we're going to do the area model. And this area model is going to represent the same problem. So let's see how it works. Remember, in this side, I'm going to put how many rows? I have 3 rows multiplied by the number of objects on each row, which is 6. So 6 times 3 is going to be 18, and we can count 6 here, plus another 6 makes 12, plus another 6 makes 18. The last model is an array, and the array is when we organize the objects in rows or columns too. So remember, at the beginning, we had 3 groups of 6 each. Now we're going to represent the same, but this time we have to do the rows again. So it's very similar to the area model. So again, this is my group 1. So let's mark it. So this is going to be my group number 1. This is going to be my group number 2, group number 2. And my group number 3. Now, it's very important that when you do the array, you have to make sure that you are aligning the numbers, so it's easier for you to count. So this is group number 3. And again, we have 3 groups times 6 objects each, and the answer is going to be the same, 3 times 6, 18. Now let's talk about the commutative property. The commutative property says that the order of the factors, remember, 3 is a factor and 6 a factor, does not change the product. So let's prove that. Before we said that 3 groups of 6 is 18, but that means if we switch the numbers around, and this time we have 6 groups of 3, the answer is going to be still 18. So let's see it here. This is group number 1, group number 2, group number 3, group number 4, group number 5, and group number 6. So I have now 6 groups, and each group has 3 objects. So when I check and I do skip counting or repeated addition, I'm going to do 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 and plus 3. So let's do partial additions, which is going to be like the skip counting. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 3 is 9, plus 3 is 12, plus 3 is going to be 15, and plus 3 is going to be 18. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 18. So the answer still is 18. Let's prove again the commutative property using the same the same area model we had at the beginning. Remember, we have 3 groups of 6, group 1, group 2, and group 3. So I probably like doing 3 times 6 equals 18. Remember, 6 plus 6, 12, and plus 6, 18. But if we change the factors, now we need 6 groups of 3. And the only thing we need to do is rotate the area model. And now this time we have 6 groups, group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, group 5, and group 6. So now we have 6 groups of 3 is going to equal 18. Now the groups are changing and the numbers are going to be a little bit different because now it's going to be 3, 6, 9, and 3 more, 12, and 3 more, 15, and 3 more, 18. So if you notice, doesn't matter how we play with this, the answer is going to still be 18. Means that we have 3 groups of 6 that equals 16. So multiplication, remember, is that we have 3 groups, 1 group of 6, 2 groups of 6, and 3 groups of 6, and we're trying to put them together to find the total, to find the whole, which is going to be 18. Now, we can do the opposite. So let's put the first fact, which is 3 times 6 equals 18. Now, let's do the opposite. Let's do the commutative property, 6 times 3. And remember, that means now we have 6 groups. Let's see the 6 groups. 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups, 5 groups. Oh, let me make some room. And 6 groups. Now we can see the 6 groups of 3. 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups, 5 groups, and 6 groups. And this is going to be 18 again. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 18. And because it's multiplication, we're trying to find the whole, so we're trying to put everything together to find the whole, which is going to be 18. So 6 group of 3 equals 18. Now, how does that relate to a division? In a division, remember, is the opposite of multiplication. So that means we're going to have 18 objects, and we're going to separate them in 6 groups. And my question is going to be how many in each group. So I have 18, and then this time I'm separating in equal groups because division is about separating in equal groups. So that's 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups, 5 groups, and 6 groups. So I separated my 18 objects in 6 groups, and my answer is going to be how many on each group. So the answer is 3 on each group, and you can see it right there. I can do the opposite. I still have my 18 objects, but this time we have to do the opposite. Let me do this one before I erase it. 18 divided into 6 groups is going to give me 3 objects per group. Now I still have the 18, but this time I'm going to rotate these numbers. I'm going to put them in a different order, and then I still have 18 objects, but now this time my division says you have 18 objects and you have to divide them in 3 groups. So this is going to be group 1, group 2, and group 3. And my question is going to be how many objects in each group. So if I have 18 objects and I separate them, split them in 3 groups, I'm going to have 6 objects in each group. So if you notice, multiplication and division relate to each other because we're using the same numbers to find the answer. So that means if I'm missing a factor, 3 times something 18, I know that it's going to be 6 because 3 times 6 is 18. If I'm missing the number 3 here, 6 times a mystery number equals 18. I know it's 3 because 6 times 3 is 18. I can have the same here. If I'm missing the answer here, I know that 3 times 6 equals 16 because 18 divided by 6 equals 3. And so I can have any number missing, and I know I am counting by sixes until I get 16, 18, and that's going to be 3 times. So all of them relate to each other to find the answer. So we need multiplication to find division and division to find multiplication. Well, this is all for today, guys. See you next time. Bye.